So a lot of people got upset again. I went on Tucker Carlson yesterday, and people don't like that I talk to his audience. So, Jimmy, why do you go on Tucker Carlson? Because they won't invite me on CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, any of the other ones. I will go bring the message anywhere they will have me. I'll go.
God forbid someone talks sense to the Republican side.
Yeah, God forbid. God forbid, because people have a caricature idea of what people on the left are. They think they're all these people who care more about identity politics than they care more about economics, and we're not. Right? That's a Democratic Party in corporate America. They've learned how to co-opt identity politics to keep you oppressed economically while seeming like good people. It's called virtue signaling while crushing everybody, and that's what the Democratic and the Republican Party now they pretend that they care about you too, like they're starting to attract working class voters. But anyway, so I'll go anywhere to bring that message. So Tucker brings me on, and they're talking about how the Biden administration is blaming inflation on Putin. And so here we go.
Putinflation.
Are you keeping a list of all the things Putin is doing?
Russia's very powerful. They control a lot of things. They overthrew our government. They committed a coup on America. They control the gas prices, and Russia's responsible for our inflation. And let me just tell you, last time I checked, Russia couldn't get their good vodka into Trader Joe's. So I don't think they're really controlling everything like they say they are, okay? So the Democrats right now are in power. They have complete control of government. And like all politicians, they don't want to take the blame for anything. They want you to blame everybody and everything or anybody and anything for the pain that you're feeling right now, except blame them, the people with the power right now. And so that's why everything comes back to Putin, because Putin is a proxy for their Trump hate, right? And you said Larry Summers blamed January 6th on inflation, which is an old Clinton advisor. So what they don't want us to realize is that we have a unipolar government, right? So if you vote for Joe Biden, you're voting for Goldman Sachs. If you Mitch McConnell, the same thing. You're voting for our oligarchy, and they don't want you to know that. And as soon as people wake up that we've been being screwed by the same billionaires that control Joe Biden, that control the Republican Party, that's what scares them. They don't want us to. They don't want me on your show talking to your audience, telling them that people on the left, we smell a rat. And we know that Joe Biden is completely controlled by the oligarchy and the corporations. And right now, the American people are paying the price. What are we paying the price for? Not for Putin's inflation, not for Putin's gas hike. This is Joe Biden's invasion. This is NATO's invasion. This is Joe Biden's policies. These are Joe Biden's policies that are wrecking the dollar, that are propping up the ruble to it's stronger than it's ever been, and they're blaming a foreign country. Imagine if Trump did that. They'd be making jokes about it every night on the nightly news. Of course, they're not. I mean, the nightly talk shows. But of course, they're not. They're all coddling. You saw Jimmy Kimmel have to coddle that old man, the guy who probably got stuck in a couch before he left that place. This is who's. And you know, Joe Biden's not making the decisions. We all know that he's mentally impaired, and we all know that Kamala Harris isn't making those decisions because she also can't speak in clear sentences. So who is really running the country? Well, whoever runs the Democratic Party, which is a handful of billionaires, those are the ones. So if you're paying a higher price, they did a controlled demolition of our economy with the COVID lockdowns. And nobody wants to take responsibility for that. COVID lockdowns, which Johns Hopkins University proved saved 0 lives. They didn't make any impact on the death rate whatsoever, right? So that they don't want to take responsibility for that. They want you to blame your neighbor. They won't want you to be angry at the oligarchs or Fauci or Big Pharma or the media that controls you, that makes you think that essential medicines are poison. They want you to blame your neighbor. It's everybody is a Trumper or they're not. It's you're with us or against us. And that's the only message they have left. And then they have censorship left because they have failed, Tucker. Why do you think it is that Mitch McConnell and Chuck Schumer are the leaders in the House and Nancy in the Senate, and Nancy is the leader because they're not leaders. Those people have negative charisma. I wouldn't ask Chuck Schumer directions to the freeway. Why are they the leaders? Because they're the ones who take the most money from the billionaire class that actually runs this country. They take the money from them and they disperse it to the other members of Congress, so they vote for them as leader, not because they're leaders, but because they're the most corrupt.
Man, is that true? Great, Jimmy Dore. Great to see you tonight. Thank you.
So, I don't know. Is that a mistake to go on there, speak to half the country, the #1 news show in America, to bring that message? I'm going to have to say it's a good idea to do something like that. And I'm bringing the message of stop blaming your neighbor. Your neighbor is being oppressed and crushed by the same economic policies as you are. And so it's time to come together and stop blaming them and put your attention and your ire on the people who actually have power.
And that's why you'll be banned from PayPal.
That's exactly right. And so, and by the way, that Johns Hopkins I referenced there, they tried to discredit that, and none of the so I think it was like USA Today and other they didn't have a credible critique of it. Every critique of it was about not about the data. They would do stuff anyway. So that guy who wrote that study contacted me. He saw me on Tucker, and he said, "There's an update to that study. There's 3 pages of updates. I think you'll be interested in it." And
Wow.
so I did. I am interested in it. I read them. They are interesting, and I'll be sharing them with you on Monday. How about that? And what was that Johns Hopkins study about? Well, it was proved it sourced a bunch of other studies and found out that the effects of lockdowns were negligible. That at the most they saved maybe 10,000 lives in the United States. 74,000 people die of the flu every year. So it was a controlled demolition, which is a phrase that Max Blumenthal used on the show, and I told him I was stealing it, and then I went right on there and did it. But I told him I was. So there you go. So I think it's smart to go on there. I'll go on any news show anytime to bring that message. Guess who's not asking me on? Guess who is? And they don't anyway. So there you go. Here's what Glenn Greenwald says about it. He said, "The best segment on Carlson's show last night was not mine above, but this one from Jimmy Dore on how Democrats continue to blame Russian and anyone else they can find for all their failures. I heard it on my earpiece watching, and it's even better to watch." Boy, that guy's good with the words.
Far right journalist Glenn Green.
Far right, crazy maniac. And he says at the bottom, he says, "Note that on multiple occasions, Dore emphasizes it's the establishment wings of both the Democratic Party, Schumer and Pelosi, and the GOP, McConnell and McCarthy, who are in servitude to oligarchs and the corporate class." And Carlson repeatedly nods in agreement, a frequent point on that show.
I think it was the great Joy Behar who said, "Get over it.
Get over it." That's a long time ago. I do have a video of her saying that just the other day about inflation. She goes, "Inflation's going to come and go. This baby formula thing is going to come and go. But our democracy, that's forever." We don't, again, she's telling them, eat cake.
Maybe starve and live. She's saying cake will be around at some point. Don't even worry about cake.
Yeah.
Worry about my democracy.
Worry about my peace of mind, about hating Trump. I got to show people that video. Anyway, I don't want to talk about it without showing it. But so there you go. There's me on the Tucker Carlson. And you should ask yourself, why is that the only show willing to bring people like me or Glenn Greenwald or Aaron Mate or Max Blumenthal? Why is that the only show on television that's willing to bring us on? First of all, he doesn't have any commercials pretty much. He's lost all his advertisers. So that frees him up, actually, to do stuff like we just did. Hey, we're doing stand-up dates. Salt Lake City, Las Vegas, Chicago, Sacramento, and then San Diego, where I'm taping my new special. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a link for all the tickets for all our live shows. We're coming to your town, maybe.